So most people at some point in their life have been treated unfairly and unjustly. This is nothing new for most people. Now, as we grow older, we are up against our own bodies. I can speak for myself. As for me, I'm against my own desires. Being a type 2 diabetic, if I overeat, I will hurt myself. I also have high blood pressure. So the foods that I eat, that I desire, can hurt me. And I am up against my own desires, my own will. And as far as 2020 and beyond goes, as of now, if you are conservative, you are up against a left that does not like you and perhaps has no empathy or even cares about you. At least it looks that way on the surface. If they can censor you and they can cancel you, which is economically blacklist you, then do they really care about you? Do they care about what you have to say? Do they want to hear and have an open dialogue about what you want to say? Now, they may say they're interested in talking to you, but are they really? I have found that most people often think they're willing to hear what you have to say, and then there comes a point, particularly if it is negative to some of their core beliefs, they will want to end the conversation. And for those who think, and I include myself in this, who think it is good to continue a conversation with someone who is not interested in hearing what you have to say, perhaps it is best to stay silent than try to chase one down. Often people will pursue women, or males anyway, and sometimes females, but I think males do this more often. They pursue women who have no interest in them, and the harder they pursue, the worse it looks. Nothing they do or say is going to change the fact that she's not into you. She doesn't find you appealing. Movies are kind of set a bad example for this, because oftentimes movies basically have the guy who's not as attractive and maybe kind of wimpy pursuing a much more attractive woman. And in the end, she sees the good and noble person he is. And that's a fantasy that a lot of men have and a lot of men want, but that is not a reality. There are exceptions to those rules, but the exception proves the rule. In reality, attractive women go for attractive men, on average, not 100 percentile, and vice versa. So what are you up against? Perhaps the same personal demons that a lot of us are. If you're an alcoholic, you're up against alcohol and drinking. If you're a compulsive overeater, you're up against food. And a lot of people are compulsive overeaters. A lot of people, particularly in this country, America, are obese. And obesity causes a great number of health problems. If you are a conservative and a vocal conservative, you are under the threat of censorship at best, being canceled, and being, in some cases, physically assaulted at worst. And society, or at least the left, doesn't have much empathy, if any empathy, for you. This is just the truth. And I think for some people, and even for me, the truth is what it is. The liberals, or the left anyway, seems to have a lot of control right now. And they are not interested in open and honest debate. That's just the truth. And if you are a conservative and you're interested in expressing yourself, you should go on to other sites. Perhaps they're not as friendly and they're not as numerous, but it's always better to go where you are treated well than where you are treated unwell. It doesn't mean that you don't continue going on to the sites that you get the most traffic, but you have to look and examine other things. I mean, it is what it is. And you have to be, I guess, strong and resilient and tough. Because a lot of people are mean, but they're not exactly tough. So if you're going to take a stand against people that you think are cruel and self-righteous, it takes more than bravery or even a moment of bravery. It takes toughness, and it takes the realization that if you do make this stand, what people can and will do to you. And sometimes you have to weigh the benefits And you have to weigh the cost and take a real look. And it's easier said than done. Talk to anyone who's an alcoholic, a recovering alcoholic, or a compulsive overeater, or a number of anyone who is living with some form of this personal dysfunction. You cannot defeat your own demons. You will not defeat the so-called demons that are out to get you, because they can absolutely pull the rug right out from under you and punish you. And many times there is nothing you can do about it. And that has been true throughout history. There have always been unfair powers. There have always been people who don't want you to talk. Even in this country, America, there have been people who have assaulted people for exercising their freedom of expression. This is nothing new. And you can choose to be angry about it and upset, or you can choose to be tactical and smart and take stock in things and realize sometimes there are truths out there that aren't necessarily worth spouting just because they don't do a situation any good. And if the truth only serves to piss the other person off, is that really a truth worth spouting? That is something for a lot of us to ponder. And how smart can you be when fighting an opposition? Whether that opposition is your own appetite or an authoritarian parent who can expel you, and I would say a narcissistic parent that can expel you, and you have the urge to tell them the truth, even an authoritarian boss, and you're an at-will employee, and they can let you go at any time. How do you handle it? How do you deal with a situation like that? Do you continue on and take the abuse because you have nowhere else to go? Or do you have more options? And have you developed more options? Anyway, this is Brian with Transparency and Merit. Like and subscribe. Visit our website. We're still working on it at transparencyandmerit.com. And and leave a comment down below, particularly if you put a thumbs down. I've noticed people put a thumbs down. And if they don't like it, tell me why you don't like it, and perhaps I can improve. Well, thank you. And like I said, like and subscribe, and share this as well if you can. That's all.